here, the Frugal Crafter. Today we're going to make this fun beach-style amulet using supplies from our sponsor, Paper Mart. You can find them online at www.papermart.com. We're going to use small craft jewelry boxes as our Shadowbox base, and we're also going to be using some satin rat tail cord, as well as some fibers, beads, sea glass, glitter, and lots of other goodies that you probably already have in your stash. Are you ready? Let's get started. The first thing we need to do is open up our small craft jewelry box, discard the fluff that's inside, and then use an X-Acto knife to cut a window on the inside of the lid of our box. You don't have to be perfect, just try to get fairly straight lines, about 1/4 of an inch from each edge, and then you can simply push out the middle. Now we need to punch holes for our cord. I'm punching holes first through the lid of the box where we just cut our window in. Punch a hole close to the edge on each side, then turn it around and do the same on the bottom of the box. By doing the lid first, we can then put the lid back on our box bottom and make little marks for where we need to put our holes in the bottom of the box. So see, we just put the box together there, and then using a ballpoint pen, mark the holes so that you can punch it from the bottom of the box. And just go ahead and use your crocodile or awl to punch those holes as well. I want my entire project to be cool and serene, so I'm staining the inside of my box with a light blue marker. You can use whatever color you want to fit the theme of your project. My necklace cords are going to run all the way through my project, but they'll be hidden by the image panel that we'll put on later. So I need to thread my cording in now before I put the rest of the necklace together. I'm using 2mm satin cord from Paper Mart. It's also called rat tail, but I don't think that sounds very nice, so I like to call it satin cord instead. You can call it whatever you like though. You want to go down through the box and lid and then back up through. You can take the lid off like I have done here to make it a little bit easier to thread that cord through. It's a little tricky when it's all lined up because of how thick the lid and the side of the box is together. But you just want to run it down and run it back up through and you will be all set. Then I pulled the cords tight and pushed the lid back on my box, determined that it was long enough to fit over my head. Then I could cut the cord and tie the ends in a knot. Actually, I work right off the spool until I'm all ready to tie, and then I cut the cords to make sure that I don't have very much waste. And you can trim them even just like that. Now I need to trim an image to fit inside my amulet. So what I did was I took another box bottom and I'm just cutting around it with an X-Acto knife over the image that I want to use. It's a scene from a embellishment book. You can use pictures from magazines or any old ephemera or scrapbook paper or anything like that that you have lying around. Then I need to trim off about 1/16 of an inch from each side so that it will actually fit inside of my box. The paper's too flimsy to use on its own, so I'm cutting a little bit of cardboard down to back it with. Now I'm using mat board because I have it on hand, but you could use cardboard if that's what you have. It's not a big deal. You just want to trim it so it's the same size as your paper. Then you want to try fitting it inside the box to make sure it's going to fit before you go any further. Because if the cardboard's a little too big, it's not going to be very easy to work with. Mine's just a hair too big on one end, so I'm just going to trim a little bit off and I'm going to be all set for the next step. I'm applying 2 layers of foam tape to the middle back of that cardboard piece. That's going to give me a little handle, and it's also going to let me adhere my panel to the back of the box, but also give room for the strings to move in behind my image. I'm using a little Mod Podge to decoupage my image to the little panel here. This will make sure that it's durable, it's sealed, and it has really good adhesion. It's a good idea to put Mod Podge both on your surface and on the back of your image you're decoupaging to make sure that you don't have air bubbles and that the paper doesn't wrinkle and stretch. Then you want to top it with another coat of Mod Podge. I'm using matte Mod Podge so that it's not too shiny, but you can use whichever you prefer. While the Mod Podge is still wet, you can add micro beads and glitter to the edges of your image. After the Mod Podge is completely dry, you can peel the backing papers off of your foam adhesive and press your image into the box. Make sure it's right side up. If you notice here, mine's upside down. I had to take that apart and redo it. So word to the wise, don't make the same mistake I did, because once you press that in there well, it's going to be stuck in there for good. Now you can glue any small found objects into your box. I'm using Beacon 3-in-1 adhesive because it's a really thick, strong, quick grab glue, and I'm putting in little bits of beach glass and pearl beads and anything else I think will help the theme of my little amulet box here. I want to secure the lid to the bottom of my box. Even though the cords are there and we're really not going to lose the lid, I thought it would be nice to get some pattern in there with some washi tape. And this is the gray chevron washi tape from Paper Mart. I'm also going to use a little bit of the black and white polka dotted washi tape in between the cords at the top. I just think it's fun, and it's going to be nice to have a little bit of pattern peeking through after I add some distressing. This project is perfect for using up all those little bits and bobs you've been saving for someday. Here's a polymer clay and foil bead that I made years ago, but I realized it's perfect for this theme. So I'm putting a little bit of glue on my knot, and that'll help the knot stay together. And I'm sliding that large hole bead right up over the knot. So it's going to be there as a stopper for my necklace, and it's going to look pretty and cover up the knot. I had some fibers left over from some yarn projects, and I'm going to tie that right on those two dangly satin cords. Don't worry, because we're going to do that same technique on the knot here that we did on the other one. So just tie it around the satin cords, and then we can just snug that knot up underneath that big bead with a little bit more glue. If you have a hard time hiding that knot, you can use a pair of tweezers to push that knot right up into the glue inside of that big bead, so it will be secure and it will look neat and tidy. Now gently distress the box with a paintbrush with some acrylic paint. If you get too much on there, you can wipe away some with a rag or a baby wipe. After it's completely dry, you can stamp on some words onto your little amulet here. I'm using tiny little dollar stamps. They come in sets for $1 at most of the craft stores and even, your department stores. And I'm stamping out beach days using alcohol ink. And it's important you use alcohol ink because it's not going to smear after it dries. If you use a regular dye-based ink, it's not really going to fully dry on top of that acrylic paint, and it's always going to smear on you, and you don't want that to get on your clothes. So go ahead and stamp whatever you want on the sides of your amulet box. The stamping ink will only take a few seconds to dry, and then you can add more embellishments and finish up your project. I'm going to add some rhinestone stars to the bottom of the front of my amulet, and I'm using my Beacon 3-in-1 adhesive again because it dries fast and it's easy to work with. I actually accidentally put a sequin there, so I'm lifting that up and putting that inside my box because I forgot I wanted to add that on the interior. Now I'm adding my 3-star rhinestones that I had in my stash. I have no idea where they came from. I'm telling you, I'm using up so much cool oldie moldies here. Moldy oldies? Oldie moldies. I love being able to use up stuff I already have. And then I thought that it would be cool to kind of finish off this amulet by putting a couple pearls on the top. And honestly, I have to tell you right here, I put out way too much glue because I thought I'd be able to trap all 3 pearls in that blob. So you don't need that much. I'm going to have to put a couple more squirts to get those pearls in. And then we are all set. I hope you enjoyed this project. I had so much fun making it today, and I think I'd love to use these small craft boxes from Paper Mart to make all sorts of fun jewelry. If you like these projects, check out the video description. I'll have links to everything I used. I want to thank Paper Mart for sponsoring this video today. You can check them out online at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting!